Okay, thank you. We'll call the meeting to order. Land acknowledgement.
We respectfully acknowledge that the County of Haliburton is located on the Treaty 20 Mississauga territory and in the traditional territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa Nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaties First Nations. We acknowledge the shared presence of Indigenous nations throughout the area and recognize its original inhabitants as the stewards of its lands and waters since time immemorial.
Thank you. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. The agenda.
That the February 25th, 2026 Haliburton County Council agenda be approved.
Have someone move? Councillor Carter, second by Deputy Warden Danielson. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. The consent agenda.
That the items listed under the heading, the consent agenda for February 25th, 2026 be adopted as presented.
Have someone move? Councillor Ferry, second by Councillor Shell. All in favor? It's carried. We're down to the Office of the CAO, Community Safety and Wellbeing. Imagine Sue is coming in.
Yeah.
Good morning, Warden Burton and members of council. Before you is a community safety and wellbeing status update. Highlights of this report include, first and foremost, that we have hired a community safety and wellbeing coordinator to the Community Outreach Department. Alicia Payne, previously administrative clerk for the county, transitioned to the role of CSWB coordinator just this past Monday. Her enthusiasm, insight, and initiative are already much appreciated by colleagues and community partners, and she is such a good fit for this role and this work. We are looking forward to her doing great things for this community. She already has been, so she is a wonderful addition to our county. The Haliburton Highlands OPP Detachment Board, Community Safety and Wellbeing Advisory Committee, and County of Haliburton Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee have each met once in 2026 with staff support from the Community Outreach Department. As noted last month in an accessibility report to Council, Haliburton County's first Accessibility Awards program has launched and nominations close on March 31st. We have started work on organizing 2 community resources fairs. Previously, we called these ID clinics this year. One is to be held on April 9th and one is to be held on October 22nd. These collaborative events are held to offer residents in the community a low barrier opportunity to apply for identification and programs, including birth certificates, social insurance numbers, health cards, photo ID cards, pensions, employment insurance, and the Canada Disability Benefit. The event will also be attended, as always, by more than a dozen other groups and organizations to help support folks with community services they might be needing to access. The first year of Haliburton County's Seniors Active Living Center program is winding down, with the 2025-2026 year ending on March 31st. We have submitted a budget submission application for the 2026-2027 SALC year. Since this CSWB status update was filed, we were contacted by the Older Adult Centres Association of Ontario, or OACAO, with an opportunity to host a Seniors Active Living Fair. That fair, which is dedicated to promoting active and healthy living for seniors, is planned to be held this upcoming Friday, March 13th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Haliburton Legion, and will feature exercise demonstrations, speakers presenting on topics such as local health services, fraud and scam information, and emergency preparedness, information booths from local organizations, and a complimentary light lunch. The fair is funded by the OACAO and, where necessary, SALC funding. The Seniors Active Living Fair is a great way for us to share information about community resources, promote the SALC program and activities, and bring folks together for an engaging morning. Those are some of the highlights of this month's report, but I am happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks, Sue. Questions? Comments? Resolution?
Staff report CSWB 04-2025 Community Safety Wellbeing February 2026 status update be received.
Have someone move? Councillor Carter, second by Councillor Dayu. All in favor? It's carried. Thanks, Sue. Finance, Andrea.
Good morning, Warden and Council. I have two policy updates on the agenda today. Both are long overdue for review and update, so I'm glad to finally have them in front of you today. The first one is the investment policy, which was last reviewed and approved in 2018. As you can see by the attachment to my report, this policy, although fully compliant with legislation, is lengthy, technical, and difficult to use. Staff are recommending the presented revised version that is clear, easier to follow, and more practical for day-to-day use. The update focuses on improving structure, using plain language, and clearly outlining roles, responsibilities, and investment objectives. Instead of repeating detailed legislative wording, the policy now references the legislation directly, which improves readability while maintaining compliance. More importantly, this update does not change the county's conservative investment approach. It does not expand investment authority, introduce higher risk investments, or reduce oversight. The priorities remain legislative compliance, protection of capital, liquidity, and earning a reasonable rate of return within legislated limits. There's no direct financial implications associated with adopting the updated policy. This is largely a housekeeping update that modernizes the document, improves clarity, and supports transparency and accountability. Staff are recommending that Council approve the updated investment policy as presented.
Any questions? Councillor Carter.
Hi. So, of course, this has existed for quite some time, but only the change makes you read it all again. So the only question I had was on the appointment of an external investment agent. Okay, who does that, and like is it chosen by the treasurer? Does it have to get approved by council? How does that work?
Through the warden. To date, we have not exercised that option. The policy states that would be done through the treasurer with oversight from and approval from the CAO. But doing that, that agency would still have to follow the policy as approved by council with regard to our investments. That's how the policy is written as of right now.
Just
Gary, go ahead.
Yeah, Ward, just to follow up on Ms. Robinson's comments. Yeah, so any endeavor for us to go down that road to use that part of the policy, Councillor, we bring a report to council explaining what we're doing, why we're doing it, outcomes, those type of things. So it'd be fully open towards council, and we'd report on it as such prior to invoking that part of the policy.
I guess that's fine, and I think that's how it should be, but that's not really what it says. It doesn't give any wording in there about an approval, not even by the CAO.
Okay.
So, perhaps that could just be cleaned up.
Yeah, we can look at that and bring that back. It's a good point.
Other questions?
Yes, yeah, I'm happy to add that.
Resolution?
That staff report COR 03/2026 be received, and the policy FN-06 investment policy is hereby approved.
Could have someone move? Councillor McKechnie, second by Deputy Warden Danielson. All in favor? It's carried. Tangible capital assets, Andrea?
Yes, the second policy update is for the tangible capital asset policy, which was last approved in 2012. The original policy was adopted to ensure compliance with Public Sector Accounting Board standards for recognizing, measuring, and reporting our tangible capital assets. Since then, legislation and best practices have evolved, and in 2024, Council approved an updated asset management plan that provides a comprehensive inventory of county assets, their condition, remaining useful life, and long-term funding pressures. To support that plan, staff have reviewed the tangible capital asset policy to ensure alignment between these documents. The revised policy continues to meet all requirements under Public Sector Accounting Board standards and the Ontario Regulation 58817 under the Infrastructure for Jobs Prosperity Act. The update modernizes governance by clearly outlining the roles and responsibilities while supporting sustainable capital planning. Capitalization thresholds and asset classifications have been reviewed and clarified to reflect current practices. Additional improvements include clearer direction on useful life reassessments, impairments, and write-downs, and standardized amortization practices. These updates help ensure that financial reporting reflects the actual condition, asset condition, and life cycle planning. Overall, this update supports implementation of the 2024 Asset Management Plan and ensures continued compliance with provincial standards. Staff are recommending that Council approve the tangible capital asset policy as presented.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Councillor Carter.
Again, when you read it all for the second time, you get to the nitpicking phase. But just on the computer hardware, it basically says all computer hardware, and I'm not really certain that we should be doing the iPads and the telephones and even probably the laptops. Perhaps it should be hardware above a certain amount or something like that. And then in the examples, you have things like tape drives and a number of things that, we no longer really have any longer in that world. It just might make things a little simpler, or at least clearer for people to know that, we're going to expense the sort of the hands-on stuff and really make this for the servers and the bigger equipment.
Through you, Warden, our computer assets, we pool those assets. So yes, one laptop doesn't reach the threshold to capitalize, but when we're purchasing 10, 15 laptops, it does reach that threshold. So we do pool our assets and do capitalize, we do pool our computer assets and do capitalize those. Telephones, no. Photocopiers, no, because they all typically are below the threshold and not on the same replacement cycles. So I will update the wording to make it clearer in the policy, speaking to computer hardware, and I will review the examples again just to make sure that they're more relevant.
Yeah, just so everybody understands. That's
Yeah,
great.
no, thank you
Thanks.
for your comment.
Other questions? Resolution?
That the revised tangible capital asset policy FN-11 be approved effective March 1st, 2026, and further that the tangible capital asset policy approved March 14th, 2012 be rescinded.
Could I have someone move? Councillor Carter, second by Councillor Ferry. All in favor?
Thank you.
Public Works? Thanks, Andrea. Approval of the purchase of a 2026 tandem axle. Sill.
Morning, Warden and members of council. Today's report is for the approval to purchase a 2026 tandem plow truck. The request for a proposal was a collaborative effort with Algonquin Highlands. That closed February 12th with two proposals received. Staff are recommending award to Winslow's Dronomy Limited for a total price of $451,740.12, including non-recoverable taxes, which was within a budget of $457,000. The recommended bid met all requirements, and the expected delivery date is March of 2027. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks, Sill. Any questions? Cheaper, are they?
They are, yeah. They well, not cheaper, just within our budget, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Resolution?
That staff report PWS 02/2026, the purchase of a 2026 tandem axle plow truck be approved, and further the bylaw be presented authorizing the warden and clerk to execute the purchase agreement with Winslow Galwami Motors Limited.
Could I have someone move? Deputy Warden Danielson, second by Councillor Schill. Planning Department work plan up.
Thank you, Warden. A
Kim
few
coming in?
items. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, Elizabeth. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, Warden. A few items to mention. Staff continue to work on drafting potential amendment language for a provincial planning statement conformity and housekeeping official plan amendment to bring to council. We're hoping to bring the suggested policies this spring to council for consideration, whether to move forward with them, amend them to move forward, or not bring them forward at all. We've also been working on improving the customer service component of the land division process through revising our notices and creating a how-to guide to accompany notices of decision, which walks applicants through the finalization of consent conditions and other finalization steps, as many questions are fielded by staff at both the county and municipalities in this regard. We're also working on some proposed process adjustments, and those will be brought to council when they're ready for consideration. The update report also contains the overall land division statistics for 2025. Committee activity remained consistent with recent years, with most new lots created in the rural area, similar to previous years. And we anticipate 2026 will be somewhat similar to that too, although we started off quite slow this year with only one application in the first 3 months of the year. So hopefully things pick up as the year goes on. There are quite a few in the pipe, just not formally submitted yet. With respect to shoreline management, activity has been somewhat dormant since the last update to council. We've received a few complaints that have been investigated, but otherwise there has been minimal activity. One update to note that isn't in the report. Yesterday, a trial date in mid-May was set for the active Part 3 hearings. It's been a long road to get to this point, and once we have a resolution from the trial, staff will update council with its results. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions council might have. Thanks.
Questions? Councillor Carter.
Two things actually. So this the 63 lot subdivision, I think we all received a letter this week or so on that. Could you talk a little bit more about what the process is here going forward?
Absolutely. The next item on the agenda is actually a report on that subdivision,
Okay.
which I'll get into that. But yes, the general process for subdivisions is once an application is deemed complete because the applicant has submitted all the requisite materials. An information report, such as what is coming next, is brought to council so that everyone is aware of what the proposal is and next steps. Any technical reports are reviewed, as well as applicable policy and legislation. And then once that full review has occurred, then staff develop a recommendation and bring it to council for consideration.
Okay, great. Sorry, my second question is about the mapping and the flood line. Particularly around the lakes, as you know, I think we in Minden have come to you on that issue. A number of people have brought this up, and it's not listed here. So then this is basically for the rest of council. This is basically along the lines of the definitions of the. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, the flood zones and so on. this is not an issue generally around the lakes, but certainly we have a couple of lakes in Minden where it will become an issue, and the definitions are really important for people being able to renew their insurance. What's the status of that and those discussions?
Thanks through you, Warden. We are working with Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority to provide sort of a comprehensive explanation of the technical side of floodplain development and management. The province is quite prescriptive when it comes to how to designate certain areas of floodplains, and so we're getting their engineering department to provide a comprehensive response to concerns we've received in that regard. Unfortunately, GRCA has been marred with the provincial changes to conservation authorities, so the response has been a little bit slower than we would like, but I do have a commitment from them to get us that response in the next week or two. So hopefully we can shed some light on that. Unfortunately, I understand floodplains from a planning perspective, but when it comes to the engineering, we really rely on GRCA to provide that, as that's their area of expertise. So we're just waiting on that, but we do have a meeting with the concerned group next week to discuss the matters further, and hopefully we have information from Ganaraska by that time so that we can provide it. And if there are any changes to what has been published publicly with respect to the LiDAR project, we'll bring it back to council for everyone's benefit.
I don't know how many people are involved. We estimate that we have probably at least 20 properties. And so this is obviously a huge financial exposure to the people who own those properties. And in the reading of the definitions of it appears that what has been how it's been designated is incorrect. So we need to correct this sooner than later.
Yeah, through you, Warden. So currently, just for everyone's benefit, lakes have been assigned, certain lakes in the county have been assigned regulatory flood elevations based on historical water level data from Parks Canada through the Trent Severn Waterway. The lakes have been assigned a 1 zone, whereas rivers have been assigned a 2 zone due to velocity of water during a flood event. And so there's been some discussion of whether a 2 zone approach should be applied to lakes. And that is the gap in information we're waiting for from Ganaraska to determine from a technical perspective if that can be applied.
Councillor Ryle.
Yeah, the question is just related to the overall review of the official plan, and I think that's really something that's good. My big question is kind of sort of right now we're talking about and you are talking about the county plan. Are we doing this in consultation with the 4 municipalities, because we do have 5 official plans, and even though technically we're not reviewing the other 4 at this level, is a lot of what we're doing here going to be incorporated into what they're going to do, or is that a separate subject to be dealt with later?
Through you, Warden. So the province requires conformity exercises to occur when provincial policy changes. So that was sort of the driver for pursuing the amendment so that our plan comes into conformity with the new 2024 provincial planning statement. Right now, our plan reflects the 2014 provincial planning statement, which is 3 planning statements ago. So it is quite out of date. There will, depending on timing, be a further conformity exercise required if the local official plans don't also conform to the policies of the 2024 provincial planning statement. I will say that primarily the sections of the PPS that changed from 2020 to 2024 don't exactly impact rural northern municipalities as compared to the urban municipalities in southern Ontario. So if the local municipal official plans reference the 2020 PPS, there probably won't be much, if any, amendments needed. Ours is so out of date that it does reflect some big changes between the 2024 and the 2014 PPS. So that's kind of the driver for this, just because there was a big shift in the last 10 years in provincial policy. Through that as well, we'll be able to incorporate the growth strategy projections, because right now it has the previous growth strategy projections that are tied to the PPS. So that doesn't, as far as I know, get carried down into the local official plans. It stays in the county plan. So that wouldn't be needed to be amended at the local level.
Thank you.
Other questions? Seeing none, resolution?
That report PLN 02/2026 Planning Department Work Plan Update be received as information.
If someone move. Deputy Warden Danielson, second by Councillor Ferry. It's carried. Elizabeth.
Give me a moment. I will share my screen because I have a PowerPoint. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So this report and presentation is to give County Council an overview of the draft plan of subdivision and associated common element condominium applications that were submitted and deemed complete on February 9th, 2026. Through the pre-consultation process for any application type, a list of required submission materials is provided to all applicants should they wish to proceed with filing a formal application. If all materials are provided, the Planning Act requires municipalities to deem the application complete and process it in accordance with the Act. This report is the first step in that process. The property is approximately 122 hectares in area, with about 1.64 kilometers of total frontage on Benoit Lake Road and approximately 3 kilometers of frontage on Elephant Lake. The development proposal contains 25 residential lots in the north phase, which is here, if you can see my mouse, and 38 resource-based recreational lots or cottage lots in the south phase, and 3 additional blocks, including space for public access to the water, access for these property owners to the water and the condominium roads. All properties would be serviced by private wells and septic systems. I should note that in the applicant's submission, the north phase lots refer to them as resource-based recreational lots only, which would be intended to be used for seasonal use. However, all but 3 lots in this phase front on and will have access from a year-round municipally maintained road, which would not facilitate seasonal dwellings. The municipality would need to change the road classification through the Municipal Act to achieve seasonality. However, no request has been submitted to the municipality to do so. So for the sake of consistency with the road classification, the lots are being described today as they relate to the current context in which they're being proposed. A future report to Council will look at both scenarios with respect to policy conformity for Council's benefit. The lands are currently vacant and naturally vegetated, with the exception of roughed-in roadways that have had some enforcement action on those in the past. The surrounding land uses are characterized by a mix of rural, shoreline residential, shoreline commercial, and natural heritage features such as wetlands, watercourses, and water bodies. The property has significant varying topography, is well vegetated, and contains a portion of the Baptiste Elephant Lake provincially significant wetland along its shoreline on Elephant Lake. Other wetland and watercourse features are also located throughout the property. Regulatory floodplain has also been identified on the subject lands near the shoreline of Elephant Lake, extending into the site in some areas. On this slide is the north face showing 25 lots, 22 of which are proposed to be accessed from Benoit Lake Road, and 3, these lots right here, are proposed to be accessed by a condominium road, as there are some natural constraints along the existing frontage on Benoit Lake Road that the applicant is trying to avoid by providing the condominium road for access. And on this side is the south face showing 38 lots, the proposed condominium roadway block, and the water access block that's intended to contain a clubhouse, parking, and docking facilities. So the clubhouse is proposed to be on this property right here, which will have docking facilities. I believe there are 12 slips being proposed in the detailed plans. The hatched areas represent the natural constraint areas. These grayed outline areas represent the regulatory floodplain that extends in the site at various locations here, here, and here. And the gray area represents, the hatched area along this part represents the provincially significant wetland. The common access block to the waterfront is generally the only stretch of lake frontage that is not encumbered by the provincially significant wetland. So the waterfront lots would effectively not have access to their shorelines because the province prohibits people from altering provincially significant wetlands. The applicant has submitted a large package of supporting reports that provide information in relation to archaeology, environmental constraints, flood hazards, hydrogeology, site suitability and servicing, lakeshore and boating capacity, engineering, and planning policy. These materials are in the process of being reviewed by third parties for technical and legislative compliance. With respect to planning policy, early review suggests there may be some potential issues with provincial and county planning policies, especially around how rural land should develop, how natural heritage features are to be protected, and how flood-prone areas are handled. At the local level, a related official plan amendment submitted to Dysart that would facilitate the northern phase of the proposed development was denied by Dysart Council, and that decision has been appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal. For next steps, county staff are in the process of arranging the peer reviews as noted. Once the peer reviews are complete, staff will review all materials against applicable legislation and planning policy and provide a recommendation to County Council on the applications. There's been a lot of public interest in these applications, and many comments have been received already. All comments received up to a decision being made on the applications will be provided to Council and included with future staff reports, as well as being taken into consideration with any recommendation brought forward. As the Planning Act removed the requirement for public meetings for subdivisions in 2022, staff encouraged the public to submit comments in writing when possible. So I've just put my contact information up there for the benefit of the public. Because there are so many technical studies submitted with this, and it is public information. So many people have reached out asking for those documents. We've actually put them on our website, so they're accessible by anyone. The link is on this slide, so it'll be part of the minutes of this meeting, but my contact information is there. And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions Council might have at this time.
Questions? I can only see happy right now. Councillor Dayu.
Thanks very much, Elizabeth. Regarding the sensitive wetlands and the fact that property owners would not be able to access them to get to the shoreline, Could you tell us more about the enforcement of that? Who would be responsible? How often would they be checking? Like, what's the teeth behind that?
Thank you, through you, Warden. Yes, it's a bit of a precarious situation because people will people. And if you have a shoreline lot, a lot of people would like to access the water from their own lot. It would be an enforcement matter through the municipality of Dysart or through the province, given that it's a provincially significant wetland.
Okay, other questions? Resolution?
Warden, may I ask a follow-up question to that?
Certainly.
Thanks. I'd actually just wonder if I might put that question over to our esteemed colleagues from Dysart. What would you foresee as being possible from an enforcement perspective, from the municipal perspective?
That's one of the reasons we turned it down, Jennifer. We can't handle this. And if they get this approved, then we might as well forget about trying to protect our lakes and our wetlands. It's just a terrible proposal. So we're going to fight as hard as we can to make sure it gets defeated.
Thank you.
Warden Burton?
I've lost everyone.
Here you are.
Are you still connected, Dave?
Yeah, I don't know whether you can hear me or not, but I wouldn't mind just calling a quick break.
Okay. All right, so we'll take a 10-minute break until we straighten out some connectivity issues and return at 9:50. Oh, okay. Sorry. Now Liz can't get back on. So when we get back in, we still have quorum. We'll have to appoint somebody else to jump in and take the meeting over or wait till we try to get the minutes. Your call.
I think we should press forward.
Okay. So when we go back live again, I'll turn it back. I'll explain what's going on. And if we have a motion to appoint somebody pro temp.
You're now live.
Okay.
Just a heads up.
Thank you. All right. So we're back now, Council. So we have some technical difficulties with both Warden Burton and Deputy Warden Danielson. So to continue the meeting going forward, we still have quorum. If I could have a motion to appoint one of you as Warden Pro Temp for the purpose of the meeting, we can proceed. Councillor Dayu?
I'd like to nominate Bob Carter.
Okay. We have a seconder, please.
Looks like Liz is back.
Oh, sorry. Deputy Warden Danielson? So let's proceed until we figure that. So seconder for that, please. Sorry. Councillor Fury, all in favor? All right. Councillor Carter.
Okay. So we have, I can't remember if we read the motion or not, Gary.
No, I will. Thank you. That staff report PLN 03/2026 be received as information. For information.
Sorry, did we have a mover and seconder?
No, we do not.
Okay, need a mover, Councillor Ferry, Councillor Dayu, seconder. All those in favor? That is carried.
We have bylaws next, Councillor.
Okay. So will you read the motion?
Yes. That bylaw 4338 being a bylaw to authorize an agreement with Winslow Jerome Motors Limited for the purchase of one tandem axle truck be considered to be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed.
I need a mover and seconder. Councillor Ferry, Councillor Deputy Mayor Shell, or Councillor Shell. All those in favor? That is carried. Now we are going to move into closed session. So I need a motion.
Yes. That in accordance with Municipal Act Section 239 sub B, Haliburton County Council into the closed session for the following reasons. To deal with personal matters about an identified individual, including municipal or local board employees.
Need a mover and seconder. Councillor Dayu, Councillor McKechnie. All those in favor? That is carried. So we move into closed session. And I can relinquish my chair to the.
No, you can't.
I can't.
You'll have to carry on, Bob. I'm having some challenges here.
Okay, that's fine. Closed session. Is there anybody here who needs to sign off?
Yes, I only need myself and Andrea, Scott, and Wendy, please.
Okay.
And just 1 second until the support staff exits as well.
For crying out loud.
Okay. I think we're ready, Councillor.
Okay. Closed
We're
session.
just going into close now. Just give me 1 moment, please.
Okay, Sam.
Okay.
Yeah, just hang on. All right, they just disabled my camera.
Sorry, guys, we're still just putting you into close here. We just need everyone to stop their camera so I can share the closed session screen, and then I'll get you guys all back into closed and ready to talk in a couple of minutes.
Thanks, Blake.
No problem.
Green. I wonder if we could have that muted. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, you guys will be live now.
Thanks, Blake.
Okay. All right, do we have a closed session? We have something to bring us back into
Yes, we're back in an open session, Councilor.
yeah. Or do we have any motion to accept closed?
No, not at this time.
Okay. So no report from closed session. All right, so we go to a confirmatory bylaw.
That bylaw 4337 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of county council be considered to be read the first, second, and third time.
I need a mover and seconder. Councillor Dayu, Councillor Shell. All those in favor? That is carried. A motion for adjournment, Councillor McKechnie and Councillor Dayu.
That the February 22nd, 2026 meeting of Haliburton County Council be adjourned at 10:26 a.m.
All those in favor? It's approved. It's not quite a record, but it's pretty close. So,
all right. Thank you very much,
thank you
everybody.
all. We'll see you in 2 weeks in beautiful downtown Haliburton.